Oh yeah, baby. It's another CM Punk video, but hey, why wouldn't it be? Because the big news about CM Punk right now is that, yeah, he joined not the WWE, not TNA or what's left of it, not Ring of Honor, no. He joined the UFC. Yeah, that's awesome. So we have another wrestler, pro wrestler, the Fates Borno go over to yeah, see if they can compete in the big leagues, kind of like Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, and a whole bunch of other names that have done the crossover. But Punk himself is entered the UFC with a 0-0 record. And yeah, that's practically unheard of. I think only one person made yeah, James Toney or something, a boxer. He went into UFC with a 0-0 record. He faced off against Randy Couture and promptly got beaten in the first round, of course. But, Punk, it's going to be a different story because at least seeing Punk, he's trained at, he's being trained, I think, by one of the Gracies at least. So if you know your UC, the Gracies are very technical submission artists. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ, so to speak. Yeah. So CM Punk, he's not going to go in there blind. He's going to train. He's going to learn how to cut weight. When he was in the ring, of course, had to be like 220 pounds just to compete with the bigger guys in there, like the Ryback, which, he's not a big fan of course, because that's how he got injured, and that's the reasons why he left the WWE and then got fired eventually on his Wednesday. So now that he's a free agent, he has all the pull in the world because a lot of people saw his rant on the Colt Cabana show, the podcast, and now he has all the leverage that he wants to go anywhere, and he decided to, hang with the big boys at the UFC and see how he can compete either as a middleweight at 185 or go drastic and see if he can cut down to 170. And if you ever watch the Ultimate Fighter show or see how they cut weight, it's not an easy thing to do. You pretty much gotta starve yourself, eat leaves, and just sit like a sun all day. Like a whole bunch of drastic measures just to make that weight cut. But, here he is. He has to really consider what he's going to do because, this is not like choreographed anymore. Real people are trying to knock him out. And there's going to be a lot of UFC fighters that are going to be pissed off that this celebrity is joining their ranks. Yeah, imagine you're a middleweight. And yeah, there is a fighter out there, he used to be the green, the white, and the red ranger. Yeah, Thomas Frank, the former Power Ranger, go Power Rangers. He's a celebrity. He's a famous, well-known name, but he's never been in the UFC. He's never been in Bellator or anything like that. And here is CM Punk, a celebrity. Yeah, he's finally getting his chance to be part of the UFC, but with a 0-0 record. And that's really going to piss a lot of UFC fighters off, trust me. A lot of people are excited that here is this guy bringing a lot of attention to the sport. But you also gotta know that, yeah, there's gonna be tons of fighters out there that piss off that this guy's getting more attention than they are, and he's he's gonna be a box office draw, and we know the UFC has been hurting as of late. You go to the recent 180, UFC show where Cain Velasquez was gonna fight for. It was going to defend his title against Mauricio Verdum in a exciting match in Mexico. But, King got hurt and things got changed around. And Mark Hunt was, thrown in last minute. And boom, that's your new main event. Yeah, it's definitely less exciting. And that's been happening to the UFC a lot, in 2013, 2014, where just people have been getting injured. Main events been, you know, tossed to the side because of injuries and all that, and shows have been canceled. It's just been nuts, and hopefully the UFC is trying to get the momentum back that they had when Brock Lesnar was there, tearing people up. He lost his first fight in the UFC, but he bounced back and he won his next fight, then fought for the championship and won. Yeah, he beat Randy Couture in the second round with heavy punches and became one of the biggest names in the sport ever. So the UFC is hoping with CM Punk that they'll get that similar momentum back that they had way back when. And good for the UFC. It's good to see more eyeballs come to the sport because it was starting to get a little bit stale. Here, CM Punk signs with the UFC. A lot of people are talking about the sport now, and the UFC will always be around. And but it seems like they were coasting as of late. But with the success of the Bellator show recently with Stephan Bonner and Tito Ortiz, you think those are two UFC washed out fighters. They don't have a lot to add to the sport. But then you saw the huge ratings of that show, and yeah, you can actually watch that show for free. And, I saw the awesome Michael Chandler, Will Brooks match, and you saw just so many great fights and so much awesome presentation going along with it that it made you want to check out more of this Bellator show. And I think that's why the UFC felt a little bit of heat. Okay, we need to do something drastic. Let's get CM Punk in there. And if you know CM Punk, you're a fan of his wrestling matches, you know he can go. Yeah, great endurance, all that. But I'd just love to see what he can actually do in the octagon. Apply his wrestling maneuvers to something like, you're not going to see the GTS where he puts somebody on the shoulders and hits them with a knee, You're actually going to see more jiu-jitsu moves. And that's going to be cool. You can't wait to see it. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And yeah, that's it for me. Just talking about some CM Punk some more. Okay, this is Arizona World Champion over and out.